Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. And in today's video, I'm going to be trying out the two new Le Comete blushes from Chanel. As soon as I saw these blushes with that gorgeous star print, I knew they were going to be hot topic. But are they worth the spend? They are very expensive blushes. Are they worth the money? Are they actually that special, or is this just a bit of a gimmick? Let's find out. So I will say this, in hindsight, this was definitely a mistake purchase from me, okay? I took a lot of time off in December. I pre-filmed a lot of my videos that went up in December because I was taking a lot of time off. I don't like to work during school holidays. My children are home. I don't want to be up here filming all day. I wanted to spend the Christmas holidays with my family and really be present. So I pre-filmed everything, which meant that I missed out on a lot of reviews, a lot of new releases that came out in December. I passed on everything because I was not filming. I was taking some time off. And then January hit. And my days, the first week of January, it's always a bit like this, but I feel like this year more than anything, it was overwhelming. We were inundated, especially with luxury releases. Chanel, Dior had releases just coming out, snowballing, and it was really crazy time. I was very aware that I haven't really reviewed anything for like the whole month of December. There's lots of reviews and products that come out that I can't get the chance to review because they either don't launch here in the UK or they launch so late that I kind of missed the boat as far as reviews. So when something came along out of these 500 releases that actually was available in the UK and in a timely fashion, I just quickly bought it without really thinking anything of it. But for me, I definitely don't think I would have purchased this if I was just making a purchaser's decision and I wasn't thinking about, oh, I need to review at least one of these 500 new releases. I wouldn't have picked these up. I think they're very expensive. I do have a lot of blush and I think I would have made a more considered decision, but I did kind of panic buy these as far as like for my channel purposes because they were like one of the only items that I could actually get here in the UK and get a review up. So I definitely, mistakes were made on my part and some would say on the part of Chanel, but we'll get into that. So these Le Comete blushes from Chanel, there are two shades. We have Pêche Cosmique, which is the lighter of the two, and Coral Étoile, which is the deeper of the two shades that are available. These are a limited edition blush. They retail for £52 each, and they claim to have a fine, soft, silky texture with a healthy glow effect. But the unique thing, the selling point about these blushes is this star embossing in the powder. So when you look into the mirror, into the compact mirror, instead of seeing the star, you actually see the CC, the double C Chanel logo instead. So that's this innovative printing technique. And hopefully you can see that in the photos that I showed here. So these are quite large blushes. They have 12 grams of product in here compared to 4 in your standard Chanel blush. They also have that different packaging without the brush holder that the standard Chanel blushes have. Same scent, that quite heavy fragrance that we all are familiar with from the Chanel blushes is still in these blushes. If you go sort of gram for gram, then they are actually much cheaper than the average, but I just don't know who needs 12 grams of blush. That's like a bronzer size, like a large bronzer at that. So I think for most people, we would much rather they keep the size similar to their standard blushes and halve the price. Don't know about you, maybe that's just me. So after I took some untouched pictures for my Instagram, I did swatch both of these blushes. And after like one swatch, which I did have to build up, it was a few swipes in the pan for this swatch of the lighter Pêche shade. And the embossing is almost completely gone already. It's quite hard to make out now. You can still see the CC in the reflection, but I don't think it's going to be noticeable for very long. So that's just something to note. I don't think this embossing is going to last very long. The deeper shade definitely is slightly more visible, but not really. It's also worth noting that you can actually see the double embossing in the pan. I'll try and show you. I don't know if it's going to come across on camera, but I'll try and show you. So here you can see, actually, you can see the CC there on top of the star. You can just about make out the star and you can see the CC. And then when you turn it, you can then just about see the star. And that's when in the compact, you can see the CC in the reflection and the star there, but when you look directly at the pan, you can see both. So even that kind of magic eye trickery is a little bit in reality and not quite as flashy and fancy as you might think. So without further ado, let's give these blushes a try on my cheeks and see how we like them. So the lighter of the two shades, based on like the swatch that I've done and just looking at it, I don't think this is gonna be usable at all for me. I will apply it just to see. I've been proven wrong many times before, so let's just try it. But I'm really not expecting this to show on me, and it's likely to look quite chalky. I think that's my kind of expectation. I'm trying to focus my brush kind of where the star is, because obviously that's a bit deeper. Oh yeah, no, this is actually lighter than my face. Oh dear. Yeah, no, that's not going to work at all. I did see somebody commented on my post. I posted swatches of the blushes on my Instagram. So I would say that, you know, oh, if you have really fair skin, then this may work much better for you. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I've had a couple of people tell me that they have fair skin and they purchased this and it's too light for them as well. It is exceedingly light. It literally looks like the colour of a highlight, but it isn't glowy, so it's not really going to work as a highlight really either. It's kind of giving me some light. I mean, I do have a glowy foundation on, so don't be fooled that this is kind of giving me that luminosity. That's my Charlotte Tilbury foundation. I just think it's too light, and it's too light for the majority of people, I feel. So let's hope that Coral Etoile is going to be the one, and this is going to blow me away and make this whole experiment worth it. Now my brush, this brush from Sonia G, this is the Lotus Detail. This picks up minimal product. It's a very light, airy brush, but as you can see, there's a lot of blush on there. These are quite, not powdery, but they are looser pressed. So there's a lot of kick up, and therefore you're going to pick up a lot of product. So you might need to be careful. Let's just see, this is obviously showing up much nicer, much more vibrant, but it's also blending beautifully into the skin, so it's not really an issue. Lots of people prefer their blushes not to be so pigmented, so that they're kind of easier to avoid like the clown look, but this is looking gorgeous. I have no highlight on, but I did have some light bronzer on there, the Victoria Beckham bronzer, but no highlight. I don't think these blushes really have any kind of glow to them, but they don't really appear matte either. They look more of a satin. I'm going to apply this to the other cheek because it's not really worth us looking at the other blush because it is just much too light. It's not going to do anything for me at all. So it's blending very nicely. It looks very smooth and flattering on the skin. This is a lovely blush, and thank goodness, because the other one is a complete bust. So at least it's only £50 down the drain and not 100. The embossing on this blush is definitely holding up far better than the lighter one as well. You know, I've done a few swatches with this now. I've really swirled my brush in there, and you can still fully see the star and also the CC in the mirror, so that's a positive. I don't think it's going to last forever, but it'd be nice if it lasted, you know, more than one use like the other one. So here is that Coral Etoile applied on the cheek. Very pretty. A really lovely blush. A very nice formula. It's got a little bit of luminosity as you kind of buff it into the cheeks, and it blended really nicely. It's got a lovely amount of pigments. It's a nice blush. Okay, so let's get into the tea on these blushes and my thoughts. This was like a waste of £100 for me. £104 to be exact. People ask me all the time, is that worth the money? Is this worth picking up? Is it worth the spend? And I always just say, you know, I cannot answer for you if something is worth it or not. I can only tell you my thoughts and my opinions and how I feel about a product. Whether or not it's worth the money to you is a completely personal thing and decision for you to make. How much money you want to spend on a blush, how much you love the colours, how much you're used you will get out of it, how much you appreciate the embossing. That is all going to come into the decision as to whether it's worth it for you. As for whether this was worth it for me, it's an absolute categoric, very easy no, absolutely not. Clearly the lighter shade is completely unusable for me. It doesn't show up at all. In fact, what does show up is it just kind of turns my cheek a bit lighter and chalky looking because it's just far too light for my skin tone. I don't know how much blush this is going to give anybody, even the fairest of the fair skin tones, because it is so light. I think that's just overall an error, a mistake. I don't think it's going to work for very many people at all. I've already had people with fairer skin telling me it doesn't show up on them either. So that is, to me, a complete dud, which is not a word I like to use and certainly don't expect to use when it comes to Chanel and a £50 blush. Now, as for the coral shade, this obviously does show up on me. I have kind of buffed my skin now and it's a nice subtle blush. I could certainly build this up and it'd be a lovely, vibrant blush. You could use this softly on fairer skin, and I think on deeper skin, building it up is still going to be a beautiful blush. So this is much more wearable, much more of a success. However, a £50 blush, for me, it needs to be special. And really the only mildly entertaining thing about this blush that makes it any different to every other is the embossing, which is almost immediately destroyed, and actually in person not quite as magical as you would think, because you can see both of the embossings on the compact. So, you know, that expectation that you're going to see something different in the mirror and it's like this magic is actually completely ruined in person when you can see both of the prints right there and we can see what's happening. Is this a nice, pretty blush that I will use again? Yes, because it cost me £52, so I might as well use it again. Is it top drawer worthy? Is it going to be among my top favourite blushes? Absolutely not. Is there anything super special about the colour or the finish? Absolutely not. It's just not worth the money at all to me. In fact, even if it had been priced at the standard Chanel blush price point, it would still be a nice blush for me, but would it be special? Would I be wowed by it? No, I just think it's an average, nice blush that at £36, people would like it. At £52, I think people are going to be disappointed that there's not anything special really about it and it's not really giving a wow factor. Having said all that, I just want to put it out here. I am absolutely not disappointed that I purchased these because I know I'm going to save so many people money, and I love to do that. I love to save you guys money. That's why I'm here, really. I know a lot of the time you guys say I made you buy something, or, you know, I make you spend your money. I certainly try my best to help you guys make sensible, good decisions for yourselves and not to panic buy like I did, and not to throw money at every release if it's not within your budget. And the opportunity to save you guys some money and tell you, do you know what, these are not worth it. Do you know what, these are not that special. Save your money for something else. I know lots of amazing releases are coming. There are already far more beautiful blushes from Chanel coming. There are lots of new releases dropping all of the time from these luxury brands that I think will just be a far better investment and you'll be far happier with than these blushes. And that for me is a win. I'm very, very happy to save you guys money. That is like my favorite thing to do. And I know several of you have already messaged me or commented on my Instagram saying that you would have bought these if not for my swatches, and that is just a win for me. So don't feel bad. I spend my money so you don't have to, okay? That's the deal here. I don't know if anyone cares, but I did just want to quickly compare Chanel's Elegance, which is one of my like favorite Chanel blushes, to the lighter Pesh shade, because Elegance is a shade that I can only use in winter when my skin has like no sun on it, no tan whatsoever, and that's when I love to use Elegance. It's a very soft, subtle, lighter blush that is just about okay for like an NC30 and lighter. So I want to show you just how light and lacking this new shade is when we compare it to one that we know is very light. I'm swatching this on the back of my hand just because there's a bit more colour on my hand than like on the inside of my wrist, so that you can actually see what this would look like more so on my skin. So this is Elegance. As you can see, it is very subtle, very soft and subtle, but it's going to show up on me. And this in my hand that is darker than like the inside of my wrist. I mean, do you see how light that looks? Just swatching it on my finger, it's ridiculous. And then let's swatch this next to Elegance. I mean, you can see it's much lighter than my hand. So there we go. This is the Pesh Cosmic shade and this is Elegance. Do you see how much lighter that is than Elegance? And Elegance is like one of the softest, most subtle, lighter blushes that I own. I mean, this is like something else. I don't know what it is, but blush it is not. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on these Comete blushes from Chanel. I hope this helped you. I hope this saved you some money. I hope you found this review enlightening as to these blushes and how they might look or perform on you and what to expect. And I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye, 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 bye.